when you're making decisions, what I've learned, I feel like this is what helps people elevate and do better and increase their awareness within themselves, is that we're going to always be making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
The goal here is to not make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
It's okay with making a mistake once. And if you don't make the same mistakes as other people, you could, but you always going to be observing what to do and what not to do. But also in that path, you're still going to fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it twice and just learn from it and keep going.
Hello, gods and goddesses. Welcome back to the Black and Abundant podcast, where we are talking all things Black abundance and how we can level up in every area of our lives. Mm-hmm. We are your hosts. I am Nia. This is my wonderful, sexy, amazing, freaking providing ass boyfriend.
What's good, baby?
Jamal.
What's up, people? What's up?
How you doing today, babe?
I'm well, babe. I'm feeling good. Over here, just hydrating, starting the day out with some good old, you know what it is, H3O, what?
2.
There we go. Just happy to be alive. How about you?
He be educating me on stuff, and I be messing it up. But
nah, you good. I know if I wasn't in here, you'll hold it down. You'll hold down the fort. You can educate him too.
I know a little something about health, just from what he's been teaching me over the past ever.
Yep.
But
listen, watermelon saved my life. Real talk. If y'all already had that conversation, come at me. But watermelon,
seeds only,
seeded fruit only, has saved my life. I was going down a terrible path, kidney shutting down. I had to make that lifestyle change. But we here now, skin glowing, healthy. I was just thinking about this earlier.
What?
I have not taken a prescription medication in years. I have not been to the doctor for any ailment. Just
me neither.
Yeah, like that's a huge blessing.
Ever since I got off birth control in November 2019, I haven't taken any medicine.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is the last thing I'm gonna say that we can go on. It's one thing to be sick and not broke.
Yeah.
But it would suck to be sick and broke at the same time.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Man, that's terrible.
But the sad truth is that a lot of people are.
A lot of people are sick and broke. Damn.
Spend a lot of money on medications.
Yeah.
But do we really want to get into the cycle of pharmaceuticals and food and illness and, the economy of America?
We can say that to a later date, but we just had to let the world know that, hey, we over here alive and well, taking preventative maintenance measures. Yeah. But yeah. What's on your mind, Queen? Talk to us. What's good? Looking all beautiful, looking all hippy dippy. That's your thing. You rock it well, babe. You looking amazing. What's
I wanna brag on him for a second, because he asked me earlier what was my vibe today. And I don't know, y'all, I'm hormonal. I'm on my period. I be getting offended. My emotions be all over the place. But I immediately got offended, because I'm like, what you mean, what's my vibe? Like, are you trying to say something about my outfit? Like, what's your problem? But he had to come to me a little bit later and be like, hey, you're beautiful. I love everything that you wear. And the way that he comforted me and made me feel safe, even though, like, I was probably offended for no reason, he still acknowledged my feelings and reassured me. And I just want to say I love that, babe.
Of course, baby. I had to because I noticed. I'm glad that you said that, that kind of offended me earlier. But I didn't think that when I first said it. I didn't, because I was just coming out natural. I was just asking a normal ass question. Like, hey, what vibe you on?
But it made me feel like, okay, he doesn't really, it took him a while. I don't know if you like my hippie side, but it exists. And he wasn't feeling it, the first time around. So I don't know if you've adapted to it or whatnot. So when I dress up, like, in my hippie self, I be feeling like he don't like it. So I felt like it was an insult.
I've come to learn that at the end of the day, I love you for you, as long as you being you 100%. If that's you and you make that shit look good, I'm rocking with it. Okay. But what's more important is the woman that's on the inside. Not trying to sound all cliche, but if you can do both, be yourself, but you have all of the qualities and the intangibles as well, that's what I'm about. So you got it, baby. Yeah. Do you, baby? What was that? Come on, y'all. Y'all already know we've been on this handshake. Man. Go ahead and get it right.
3 weeks strong. 3 weeks strong. That one.
There we go.
It's so much cooler when we do it like with the same hand.
Yeah.
You know, it looks weird that way. But anyway, all right, the topic for the day.
All right.
So there was this woman on Instagram, and I wish her Instagram name would come to my mind right now, but it won't. But either way, she made a video in response to a video that I posted this week as well. And in the video, she went into the mistakes that she made in college and how that deeply impacted her and the lessons that she learned. And as we were watching the video, I was like, bro, we need to have a podcast talking about our mistakes. I know I've made a lot of mistakes.
Woo, look, we're going to be on here for hours because your boy done made some. I have a whole rap sheet of mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, I still make mistakes. I'm making mistakes until this day.
Hey, thank God for being human.
Right. And I feel like we don't give ourselves enough grace. Humans in general, we don't give ourselves enough grace when people make mistakes. And honestly, a lot of people don't give other humans grace either.
Yeah.
And I just...
That's so true.
Yeah, like people... I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she said she sees that there's a trend that people hold on to things like really tightly. And they hold on to things from a long time ago and still use that against people. But one thing I can say is that I feel like I give people a lot of grace. And I feel like I always have. I've given other people lots of grace all the time, but I don't give myself enough. I never give myself grace, to be honest. I'm always so hard on myself.
Yeah.
But other people, I recognize I let them fly by with the craziest, wildest things. But I've gotten a lot better at that, which mistake number 1.
I can definitely relate to that because I do the exact same thing too. It's very easy for me to give people grace, but when it comes to myself, I'm hard on myself.
Yeah.
But that raises a question, why do we do that? I don't want to be quick to say like, oh, it's a self-love thing. No, I know that we value and we love ourselves tremendously, but why is it that we still do that to ourselves?
This is going to sound really crappy, but I feel like we have such high expectations for ourselves and not necessarily for other people.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Because, I mean, we have such a high standard in our household and the way that we carry ourselves, our image, our values. Like, we just hold such a high standard for everything that we do, but we understand that other people aren't like us. So we give other people a lot more grace. And I feel like in the beginning, like as a child, this was very toxic because my mom said that I always held myself to this incredibly stupid high standard, and she doesn't know where I got it from because she never really, I mean, she pushed me, but I would literally like burst into tears if I couldn't do my homework. Like, she said she pushed me, but she never pushed me that hard to the point where I would be that way. And I remember in 11th grade, we had to get up in front of the class in my engineering class. We had to get up in front of the class one by one and tell everyone who we wanted to be. And I got up and I said, I want to be perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
You never told me this story. Talk about it.
And I was talking about, I can't even remember what I was talking about. But I remember I turned it into a poem my freshman year of college. And I can't remember who came to talk. She was from the Cosby Show, but I opened up for her, and it was a poem about how I'm perfect, but I make mistakes. I don't even know where I was going with that. But I've just always had this idea that I had to be a perfect human being. And I don't know if that had to do with, my attachment style, my relationship with my father, feeling like I always had to impress him in order to receive love. Or honestly, I feel like it might be that. Like feeling like I had to be perfect in order to receive love from other people.
Mm-hmm.
But I never felt that way towards other people, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Maybe it's linked to daddy issues, mama issues, and all this stuff. How we never just receive the love that we know that we deserve and desire, because innately we naturally want love. And coming from a toxic situation, everybody's situation is toxic in some way, shape, or form. Your toxic just may not look like my toxic.
Yeah.
Your dysfunction may not look like mine, but when we're not getting those things, we think that we have to operate or do certain things to get there from the people that we love the most. So maybe.
Another mistake is believing that we had to do something in order to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
Or believing that we had to be loved by certain people in order to be a lovable person. That was something that I struggled with very deeply. And very deeply.
Here we go.
And my dog's throwing up again. She did the same thing in episode 2. I'm gonna stop inviting you down here.
Well, we're not being the best of parents right now. Just being transparent. So
I blame you because you forgot to get dog food yesterday.
I did.
When I reminded you before you even went in the. Oh my God, that sounded gross. I hope y'all didn't hear.
She getting down in there too. I'm sorry, baby. We're gonna pause, tend to the child, make sure she good, and we're gonna come back.
Okay, cool.
1 second. All right.
Put down the watermelon.
Baby, this is my juice for today.
Okay, can you not eat it in 40 minutes?
Okay. I love me some watermelon, baby. God damn, let me eat my watermelon and be happy.
Oh my gosh.
Man, look, watermelon is the reason why I got good clear skin. I ain't been to the hospital. My thing been on 1,000. I ain't got no erectile dysfunction issues. You can just literally touch that thing.
Baby, stop.
But that's good. Bro, when I used to work with one of the greatest healers in the world, I would get inquiries all the time, just questioning how to fix this error. A lot of men would come to me and be like, yo, I am having a difficult time in bed. I cannot get hard. None of that.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. So when I see those things, it would just make me extremely grateful that man, that's not me. It's very humbling because men out here that attacks your manhood, your dignity, knowing that you can't perform in the bed and please your queen in the manner that you know that she needs and deserves and how you truly want to. And it's because of this acidic ass environment, this food, the diet, all this stuff. So when y'all see me eating watermelon, I'm eating from a place of gratitude and just being grateful because I know that as within, I putting all this good stuff in, I'm gonna give it to you. And you know what I'm talking about.
I love that energy transfer, babe.
But yeah, we ain't got to keep this part in the podcast unless you want to, but I don't care. Fuck it. Let them know what's up. But so back to giving others grace, but not giving ourselves grace.
I was talking about feeling like we have to be loved by certain people in order to be lovable. I feel like that was one mistake that I made that reflected in a bunch of other mistakes. Okay. That was a negative way of thinking that reflected in a lot of my relationships, is because I always felt like I had to, and we talked about this, I had to earn people's love in order to prove to myself that I have the capacity to be loved. And I saw this in abusive relationships. This is why I was in an abusive relationship, because he fed off of that idea that I had within myself. I had this idea that I had to prove that I am lovable by other people loving me, and he took this and he turned it into a way to make me stay. Because anytime we would argue, which was all the time, he would basically hit me where it hurts. He would blame me for everything. Blame me for the reason, the way that, he blamed me for why he was the way that he was.
Yeah.
And I took that as, oh man, I need to fix myself because I'm the problem. I need to fix who I am in order to be loved by this person. Which I believe that there is a thin line between someone loving you enough to hold you accountable for ways that you can grow as a person, and then blatantly disrespecting and tearing you down. I recognize that the latter is something that is not productive, it's counterproductive, and that's what calls for pushing people out of your lives or excommunicating people out of your lives. But a good person is going to hold you accountable without attacking you and tearing you down. But either way, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, that's common sense though. Like, we now on the back end, like, we know that a good person would do that. But back then, I was just thinking like, okay, at that age, I don't know what age y'all was at.
Like 18, 19.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. He sounds like he was a very insecure and traumatized young man at the time.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're very insecure and traumatized, you operate and respond from that place and play the victim.
Yeah.
So we were young, you know, like.
I know, but this is a podcast about mistakes.
Right. No, I'm not saying like we were young, like at you. It just made me think, like, in general, like, man, we were so young. We didn't know what we were doing and how to go about certain things. At that time, our level of self-awareness is just not good. Mm-hmm. Because I'm just going to speak from my background. I wasn't taught to ask myself the questions that would allow me to go inward.
Yeah.
I never had a inward guidance or just seeing the value of that. Everything was just outward, external, and you just going based upon your environment and things of that nature. So how do you really know how to do right, for real, for real? You think you're doing right based upon what you learned from your family, but a lot of the things that I've did coming up as a kid, I thought that praise was a form of love. That's why I excelled in school. That's why I followed the rules. That's why, okay, I made sure I did the things that would make my parents happy so I can receive that love. Like, good, you know, it made me feel good. Oh, that's what y'all want? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, when I do something that's not in alignment with what you like or how you want me to be, oh, now I'm the bad guy, or I'm doing wrong. But when I'm actually taking a chance to do something that I want to do, making my own sound decision for myself, oh, that's a threat to y'all.
Oh, my God, babe.
Yeah.
That shit that you just said was so hard. Babe.
But that's real, though.
That was so real.
And a lot of people deal with that.
God damn, I'm still dealing with that.
Talk about it.
I'm still dealing with that. I mean, I'm an influencer. I'm forever going to deal with that. How, you know, when I'm not in alignment with what other people want me to do, I'm going to get torn down. Always. And I mean, that's anybody. Even if I weren't an influencer, like that's been happening my whole life. Because I feel like we just have this idea that we have to be a certain way, or that we have to please everybody in order to be loved. And you said it when you said that you associated praise with love, because that's not it. Mm-hmm. But now that you say that, damn.
Yep.
That really hits home.
Yep.
That's a mistake I make now.
Yeah, it makes you reflect back over your life, and you can really start to think about think on the decision that you made as a young adult coming up. A lot of the things you made decisions just to have other people to praise you because you lack understanding of what real love is. But you've been taught love from a standpoint, like I said, okay, if I do these things and I receive the praise, then y'all going to acknowledge me, give me the attention that I need, give me the attention that I lack as a child in certain ways. But if I continue to do these things, I'm going to get the attention that I desire from you, which is excel or do something good or be in alignment of what you want me to be and do.
I feel like, okay, now I feel like that problem has kind of shifted for me to where I'm not necessarily looking for praise for love like I did back in the past, because now, I mean, I love myself, and I know that you love me. I know that I have friends and family that love me. I'm a very loved person, and I'm happy about that. However, now I feel like I seek praise in order to feed my ego. Like, there are certain things that I do genuinely because I want to do them. But then there is a side of me, and we talk about this, like, one of our biggest desires is just to be cool as hell. It's just to be cool, to like dress cool, live a cool life, be cool people, have cool interactions. We just want to be cool.
Have money, have enough money to where like you don't have to think about money. You just got so much money that it's like air. You know, you don't think about it.
Right.
But also along with that, be able to travel the world, do cool shit, but also love on people and give in a tremendous way at the same time while being cool as hell.
That's what we desire. And part of that is because that's just what we want out of life. Like, I couldn't imagine my life being any other way. To be honest. But then another part of that, like the lower side of us within ourselves is like, and we gonna stun on bitches. Like,
yeah.
Stun like my daddy. Stun like
my
daddy. I mean, at the end of the day, we all wanna appear as if we are cool as hell to people.
But you know what? That's not just us. If you say that that's not you, you lie.
Right.
Don't even try to stunt and be like, nah, like you don't want that. You lying. In some way, shape, or form, you do things to feed your own ego. It's just all about how you go about it and the magnitude that you're feeding your ego. If you do it in an extreme way, you're going to eventually put yourself in a position to where your ego is going to run your life.
Yeah.
Because the ego is always the enemy. It's always the enemy. It's always going to be the one that disrupts everything in your life. But there's definitely nothing wrong with saying that, you know, you want to be cool to just feed your ego a little bit. But my thing is doing it in a way that you're not harming anybody. And you're truly being yourself while you're doing it. And you're not degrading anybody in the process.
That's where it becomes toxic.
Yep.
When your ego starts affecting other people, that's where it becomes toxic.
What came to my mind when you said that, babe, is that I feel like it's everybody's responsibility. Not responsibility, it's everybody's right to be who they truly want to be. It is your birthright to be what you see in your mind. Because you're a god and you're a goddess. You are gods and goddess of your own reality. Go be that. Go do that. What makes that process beautiful, what separates from good and bad, like I said, it's all about how you go about it. How I govern my daily life, my daily walk is I'm always doing my best, and it's not going to be perfect, but I'm always doing my best to treat others in a way that how I want to be treated.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm doing something that involves other people, okay, if I did this, how would this make me feel? That's how I know it's how to govern, like, right from wrong, or, okay, if this feels right, am I doing right? And it's not going to be perfect all the time. But in that process, like I said, we talked about earlier, people want to be cool and doing all this stuff just to merely feed their ego. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's if you're not being nice and right and truthful when it comes to other people.
And being true to yourself.
And being true to yourself.
And I will say that that's another mistake that I've made, is not being true to myself.
Me too.
I don't believe that I started making decisions that were genuinely just because it aligned with me and who I desire to be until last year. Honestly, until last year. Because, I mean, beginning of last year is when I really figured out who I was. And if you can think about, like, thinking about all of the decisions that I've made prior to, and I was, 20, how old am I? Shoot, that was 23. So thinking about all of the decisions that I made prior to 23, and 23 is a pretty freaking young age. Just saying, like, it may seem like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. But I'm only 24. Like, I'll be 25 this month, Virgo gang.
Hey.
It's September 1st today. But, yeah. Anyway, I love me some September. But anyway, but prior to 23, I was constantly making decisions based on what other people wanted from me, based on what I felt like other people would praise me for or accept me for. Like, I had such an identity issue.
Same.
Because I didn't know, I was so busy trying to be everyone else that I could never figure out who I was. And I was so busy trying to play cleanup. Like, when you have a mental disorder, when you have, and I don't like to say it that way because it's curable, and some people put the word disorder on it to basically make it seem like you're forever going to have it. But that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, dealing with mental health issues and dealing with trauma and PTSD and stuff like that, when you go off into the adult world and you're out on your own, it's pretty much playing cleanup. Like, you're having interactions with people who have their own traumas, their own issues, their own self-doubts and negative beliefs. So now y'all are just pooping all over each other to the point where you just have this big mess that you feel like you have to clean up. And that's pretty much all of my early 20s. Is just trying to figure out, okay, one, what's wrong? What is wrong with my thinking? What is wrong with my life? How is all of the things that I went through in childhood affecting my current decisions and relationships today? Okay, now that I recognize what's wrong, what's right? What do I really want? And that's what happened when I was 23. Is that I finally got to a place where I was like, okay, now that I feel like I cleaned up all of the crap that was wrong from the beginning, now that my house is clear, what new things do I want to add? Who am I really? So a lot of the decisions that I made in my life were based off of my trauma. My trauma made a lot of decisions for me in the past. And that's why we talk about, like, the way that we want to raise our kids in the future, the very distant future, is that we want to make sure that we clean up all of our traumas and give them a clean slate to work with, so that when they actually go off to be adults or out into the world or whatever, they don't have to play freaking cleanup. They can just be human beings.
Yeah, that's going to be very beautiful. And that is, of course, the ultimate goal, to be at a place within ourselves that we feel like we have cleaned up all of the trauma, and we can be able to provide them a clean slate to just be.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's 100% possible.
Yeah.
I think we can get really, really close, because we're going to always be battling, dealing with something. And in this life, we're going to always be healing from things. But I don't think you're going to be 100% healed from everything. I think that your understanding of things would just be a lot better. You'll know how to move, and you just learn from the things that you learned in the past, and you just become better that way. But just reaching 100%, I think we're gonna be close, because we're dope ass people, you know.
I can't imagine where we'll be whenever we decide to have kids.
And because we value the importance of continuously doing the internal work. It's not about us. It's about, yes, us, but also our future children, because we want to break off certain curses that's been placed on us in different areas of our lives. So when our kids come, the beautiful thing about kids, and we talked about this before, that they are teachers. They're gonna always be teaching you something. It's gonna be something like, damn, I missed that.
Yeah. Ooh. They're gonna bring something out of you.
They're gonna bring something out of you that you just forgot to address before. I look forward to it though.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. But you're 100% right. I look forward to being in a place almost 100% healed, but being in a place financially, spiritually, a relationship wise, to where you can bring other adults into this world and through your portal and give them experience of life without any limitations to where they can be and make their decisions, you know?
I'm glad that you said that, because healing is not linear. And we try to associate healing with a certain amount of time that you have to go through, or certain rituals like journaling or therapy or whatever that you have to go through. But it can feel like you're healed from something until something triggers you. And then now it feels as if you have to start all the way over. And that's something that I experienced recently, like very recently, thinking that I was in a place where I did not care at all what people think. Like nothing really bothered me for real. But then getting to a place where something that someone said really did affect me. And I had to sit with myself and recognize, okay, that might have thrown you off track for a minute, but let's bring it back. What have you learned along this journey? You know who you are. So why are you allowing other people to affect you in the way that this is affecting you? But that's not going to be the last time that happens. You know, our kid might say something 20 years from now, and I'll be like, dang, okay, maybe I do care. I don't know. That's forever going to be a thing. And I can't expect that our kids are not going to have any type of, because kids are so, they sponges, man. They soak up everything. Yeah. I mean, you just look at, I was reading a book one time, and it said something about breaking eye contact with your baby. Like, there's a certain way that you're supposed to have eye contact with your and if not, they gonna feel neglected.
Dang.
I was like, oh no.
I can see how me and my mama, like, I love that woman so freaking much, and I cannot understand like why that's so deep. But if you look at our story, I learned some new things about my childhood, like our beginning stages with just me and her, that I did not know about.
I didn't know all that.
Me either. But there was a time period where, okay, she had to make a decision that I know that it hurt her, but she knew she needed to make the decision for the sake of me and my future. She just wasn't at a place. She was 19. Just imagine having a child at 19, and prior to that, you're young, man. You're not fully developed. You're still trying to figure things out and make your way in this world. Yeah. But she had to make a decision to give me to my grandparents, and there were times in my development stage where she just was not there, or she said that she would come, she did not come. But innately, I knew that I needed my mother's love. She wasn't there. And in my biological father, he just wasn't there in the picture, period. I'm like, bro, where you at?
Yeah.
So that just made me think about my upbringing as just the trauma from that, and not just being able to see my mother and my father. Because children are not stupid. Like, and not having that, oh, man, that messed me up. Yeah. I'm still dealing with some things today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, like, forever doing the work.
Forever. And, I mean, as we're talking about these mistakes, I'm just thinking about the fact how these mistakes are probably things that will continue to repeat in different ways and will teach us different lessons throughout our lives. I keep forgetting that I'm 24.
Yeah.
It's honestly everything that we're going through, and like running our own business, being in this relationship. We looked at each other yesterday. I think we were washing dishes or something. And I looked at Jamal and I was like, oh my God, we're adults.
Adulting like a mug, man.
We have a house. We have a dog. Like, we got cars.
We got bills.
Like, we're adults.
They don't feel like it though.
It doesn't. But it's like I feel so young, but then I feel so old at the same time. And it's so hard to give myself grace for the things that I do because I feel so old in spirit. Like, I recognize there are people, and I'm not pooping on nobody, ever, know that about me as a person. But there are people that are my age, that are our age, that are still making the same mistakes that we made at like 20, 21. Mm-hmm. You know, still out here in these streets, still out here hurting people, you know, holding hostages and just being, I wouldn't say being a bad person, because I believe there's no such thing as a bad person. I believe there's such thing as a lost person. But that are still lost. And I'm glad that we've gotten to a place where we can say, okay, we know ourselves and we're in a good place. We're happy. We have joy. We don't feel like we're spilling our traumas all over other people. However, we're not perfect.
Right.
And I feel like I still have this expectation on myself to be perfect.
Yeah. I want to share something.
Okay.
I want to share an experience in my life. Now looking back over my life, I realized it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. And this ties into, you know, us making mistakes and just reflecting on what we did coming up, that you don't really know if you're doing right or wrong, but you think you know. But then again, like, your decisions, you just doing the best decision that you can, making the best decisions. But damn, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Train of thought. Come back to me.
You're telling a story.
Shoot it.
You're telling a story.
Right and wrong. Right. Okay, here we go. Got it. Sorry, y'all. Lost my train of thought. But when you're making decisions, what I've learned, I feel like this is what helps people elevate and do better and increase their awareness within themselves, is that we're going to always be making mistakes. Mm-hmm. The goal here is to not make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
It's okay with making a mistake once. And if you don't make the same mistakes as other people, you know, but you always going to be observing what to do and what not to do. But also in that path, you're still going to fuck up. Mm-hmm. Just don't do it twice, and just learn from it and keep going. And I bring that up because it made me think about one of the, like I said, the best decisions, not best decision, but one of the experiences that happened to me that I feel like was the best thing was when I was 20 years old and I was turning 21. It was January the 31st at like 12 a.m. Just turned February the 1st. But I got arrested. Mm-hmm. I got arrested when I was 20 years old for drinking and driving, DUI. And I had 2 other people in the vehicle with me. So it could have really went left.
Yeah.
And I respect my grandfather. I've learned a lot just being under his, you know, in his household, a lot of values and the art of like being disciplined and being a man and taking care of your family, things of that nature. But also in that process, I knew I had to go on a journey of being my own man, mm-hmm. and finding my own self outside of like what family tries to mold you to be. It's okay to be your own person outside of what they try to tell you. Just don't lose sight of the principles and values, right? But he told me that if you ever get arrested, you're going to have to figure that out yourself. And that always stuck with me. I never thought that I'd be the man that get arrested.
Yeah.
But just reflecting back on the decisions that I've made that led up to that point. When I was 19, 20, I was in a state of doing things to make other people like me. Being like, just wanted to be pleased. Not being pleased, but I wanted to please others so I can receive their love. I wanted to fit in. Like 19, young college student, everybody trying to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody don't really know themselves at 18, 19. You don't go through a process of, why do I do the things that I do? You're not thinking about that. You thinking about, okay, what girl I'm finna link up with, how I'm gonna get some money. Okay, I'm ready to go to this party this weekend. You're not really doing the internal self-reflective work. So, but that's just the person that I was back then. A lot of people don't know I was selling drugs in college. As soon as I graduated high school, I got clicked up with the wrong people because I saw what they were doing. I saw all of the money. I saw the flashy stuff, and I wanted that. Like, I wanted to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that, okay, I can do this. This is easy. So I went along that path. I started making my own decisions now that I'm out in the world on my own.
Yeah.
But you need to do that sometimes so you can be able to learn right from wrong and find yourself, and life is going to have to smack you upside the head so you can know, like, nah, okay. But yeah, but leading up to that point, drinking and driving, I got arrested. And when I got arrested, like, life really hit me, and I started to go through a process of making my own decisions where I knew that, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like this. I started to make my own man decision. I stopped, like, drinking. I started to really go through a process of thinking, like, okay, where do I really want to be? Where am I going? Like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this ain't right. Oh, and I had a process of thinking, like, you wasn't raised like this. Like, do you really want to disappoint your family like that? Stuff like that. But it made me grow up. Mm-hmm. I just needed that one time. But people, it takes them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. But I used that mistake as an opportunity for me to level up, and learn and be better.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about how, for me, yeah, I made a lot of dumb, stupid mistakes, but through those mistakes, I looked at it as opportunities for me to go through a process. Mm-hmm. And I think it's that process that is the most important, most valuable thing that people need to understand when it comes to doing right and wrong, making mistakes, and just how to go about this shit. That make sense?
It does. And there's a couple things that I wanted to say about that, because you said something very important about making the same mistake twice. Mm-hmm. And I feel like what leads us to do that is when we don't really analyze the first mistake. Mm-hmm. Like, or at least I know for myself at one point in my life, is that I was taking the very surface level lesson from my mistakes. As in, okay, for example, if my ex was yelling at me about something very specific, like, I don't know, he used to yell at me for stupid stuff. I can't even make up none because it was so stupid. I remember he cussed me out on my birthday, like, ruined my birthday. He set up a surprise dinner for me and then cussed me out at the dinner over. When I tell you it was toxic, it was very toxic. But what I used to take from that was, okay, well, whatever he was mad about, let me not do that again. Mm. That was the lesson that I took from the mistake, right? Instead of looking deeper and being like, okay, maybe he shouldn't be treating me like that in the first place. Like, maybe the lesson here is a little bit deeper than what he wanted me to take from it, per se. Because, I mean, he continued to yell regardless if I did anything or not. He was still cussing me out for some reason. So I believe that the lesson was much, much deeper than what I was getting out of it. So I say that to say is that when we make mistakes, we have to make sure that we don't just get the surface level lesson out of it. That we have to look a little bit deeper to see how we can prevent any mistakes like it, mm-hmm. like even in its general vicinity, from ever happening again. And I also wanted to talk about, I wouldn't say one of my biggest regrets, because I don't regret anything, but something that was very painful for me and that still kind of bothers me today. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there was a lesson in it. So I have to I cherish things a lot more now because of what happened. But it wasn't like a one moment. It was gradual over time. Is that I have always in my life desired a friend group. More than anything. I still want one to this day, but I don't hold it at such a high esteem anymore. Like, it's one of those things that I know if I'm meant to have one, it will come in time, and that's just what it is. But back in high school and back in like early college, that's something that I wanted more than anything. And my freshman year of college, I moved into my apartment, and there were 3 black women there. Mm-hmm. And found out that one of my roommates actually requested to have all black roommates. So I'm glad that I was in one, because I had such a negative relationship with my identity as a black woman. So it helped me get over that and heal from that. So that's how I ended up going from super whitewashed Hoover, mind control.
Yo, like, whoa. Hold that thought, the point you're making.
Okay.
But take us back to the moment when you went into the dorm room, you first met your roommates. What were like some of the conversations that like some of your roommates would have with you about just black? Like, did they like used to get on to you about shit?
I remember one thing very specifically, okay. And this is what changed my whole mindset and why I'm with a black man today. But my roommate Shannon, I love you so much, Shannon. I said that I only date white guys.
Okay.
You can imagine how Shannon got in my ass.
Yeah.
And she made me recognize, she was like, maybe that's related to your dad. Like, maybe you only like white men because you recognize that black men have only let you down in your life.
I can see that.
And I mean, she was right. And then going to Hoover, going to a predominantly white school, and then being in all AP classes and then being in engineering, there weren't many black people that were in the advanced classes or in the hard academies like the engineering academy. That I could honestly count on one hand how many black people were in my classes. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, I guess black people just can't keep up with me, intellectually. So getting to Auburn and being around black people that were smart and active in their community and like woke and just amazing people in general. I had never been around black people that were doing something great. So I think it was just a blessing that I was in there with those 3 women. Like, honestly, one of the best things that could have ever happened to me in my growth.
That's beautiful.
I know. Thank you. I think it was Shaw, Chantal, and Shannon.
Shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all for real. And when Shaw moved out, Janice, my grand, she moved in. And then Tyra moved in at some point. 1404 was lit, okay? But anyway, so I had my roommates. And then through them, I actually did have a friend group. I had a neighbor who I was friends with, and then she went to school with a bunch of people from the Gump, apparently, and they ended up being my friends. The house, 1404, used to be packed. People used to be in and out all the time, like people just walking in, like our friends just walking in, and I felt I really had a family. I really had a family, and it was everything I wanted, and I hate that I did not appreciate it for what it was. And that almost brings me to tears, to be honest, because I really loved them like they were my family. And for me to not have a relationship, like a close relationship with them today, breaks my freaking heart, because those were the best friends that I've ever had.
Why?
Why what?
Why were they some of the best friends that you ever had? Really take us back to those times, those moments, to where you truly just valued that.
Because they loved me for me. And they weren't just my friends through circumstance. They didn't have to be my friends. We were in all different majors. Like, we were from all different walks of life. Like, they didn't have to be my friends. But they are my friends genuinely because they loved me. and wanted to be my friend. Like, shout out to Aunt and Rachel and Brandon. Like, that group in general was just so close to me. And I hate that I'm not friends with them anymore. And the reason being is because I allowed this thing of what I thought I wanted to take me away from them. So first it was my abusive relationship. They started to distance themselves from me throughout that because I became someone that I didn't even recognize. I completely lost myself in that. Like, completely. And I understand on the other side of it why people would want to distance themselves from you when you're going through something like that, because it's very exhausting. It's very taxing on your mental to have a friend that's constantly in this cycle of being abused and depressed, and it's hard.
They had to protect themselves.
And I also want to give a special shout out to Anna as well. But they had to protect themselves, so I understand. But throughout that, I lost them. And when I finally started to get my footing back, they were there. Like, they really did have my backs, but it just was never the same after that. Like, a lot of them had moved on with their lives and, you know, got into their own relationships or started hanging out with new people. So I feel like I never got to rebuild those friendships back to what they were before everyone started, like, graduating it off and going to do their own thing.
Question. So would you consider that to be a mistake? And when we say mistake, not from a place of a regretful mistake, just meaning like, okay, you probably should have moved a little differently because you now on the back end realize like you truly value this. Yeah. And you made a decision that took you away from that.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, that's a mistake, because I believe that the grand mistake was not showing enough gratitude, not being grateful for what I had there sitting right in front of me. I just feel like if I would have showed gratitude for what I had in my life at that moment, and I didn't keep trying to chase after things that I thought were going to make me happier, but they didn't, and just recognizing that the things that I really wanted were right there in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's why I take the time now to just be so appreciative of everything that I have. The friends I have, the relationship I have, this house, my dog, you know, everything that I have in this life, because I recognize if I continue to keep trying, if I get so caught up in chasing whatever I want, I'm not going to recognize that I have such great things right here in front of me.
Yeah. But how would you know back then, though, being at that age? You know, it's very difficult.
I feel like I could play devil's advocate about all my mistakes.
We all can. Sure can.
We can relate all of our mistakes back to some type of trauma, back to something, somewhere. But at the end of the day, we have to take accountability no matter what age we're at. We have to take accountability for our mistakes. Yes, we can recognize how other people may have impacted us, how other decisions may have impacted us. However, we have to take accountability for where we were. Even though I was only 18 years old, even though I got into a relationship that I did not know would be abusive, I could sit up here and blame him all day, but that wouldn't get me anywhere. At the end of the day, it was my decision to stay. It was my decision to distance myself from the people that genuinely cared about me. And I take full responsibility. It's still, like I said, it breaks my heart to this day.
Babe, I honestly believe like that is the key to living a freeing life, because in this life is your biggest teacher and test provider. And we never just know how to succeed at whatever level that we're at. We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know at those stages, and we're just doing the best that we can. But just by observing other people, what they do, you said at the beginning of the podcast, is that people hold on to things for so long, and even hold on to things when it comes to you for whatever reason. But a happy, freeing life is when taking full accountability. Yeah, we fucked up, we messed up a lot, But we're not going to allow ourselves to hold on to that for long because it's life. It's life. You're going to mess up. It's going to happen. But what's the goal here? A powerful person is the one who has the strength to let things go. Mm-hmm. That is a true, free, powerful person. The ability to just let shit go and not hold on for so long and stay in a place of gratitude and being graceful. That's the key.
I would also say another key is making sure that you're not relating your mistakes to who you are.
Talk about that.
Like, I always like to use the example of just because you cheat doesn't make you a cheater. That means that you cheated. If you associate yourself with being a cheater, now you're going to move like a cheater going forward.
Big bars. That's
like really... other mistakes that I made in my past. I've cheated. I've done some dirty shit. Okay? Just being real. I've done some dirty shit. But that didn't make me, I never associated with myself with being a cheater. I've never called myself a cheater because I knew if I did that, now I'm giving myself permission to cheat moving forward. When instead I can hold myself accountable and say, okay, I cheated. I know it. I made my mistake.
Own up to it.
But now moving forward, I'm not going to associate myself with someone who cheats. I'm going to do better. I'm going to learn from my mistakes that I made, and I'm going to make sure that I'm a faithful person moving forward. That's with all of your mistakes. Like, especially coming from people who are growth-minded and borderline perfectionists, is that when we make a mistake, we associate that with, well, damn, like, I'm stupid. I shouldn't have did that shit. Like, oh, I'm fucked up. I'm a bad person. No, you're not. It's just that you made a mistake. So now, yes, you can take accountability for something without beating yourself up about it.
That's hard for people to do.
It's hard for me to do. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for me to do. Because the moment that I say, okay, well, dang, I really messed up, the next thought, anxiety takes over.
Yep.
Well, maybe if you weren't da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's like we innately associate that mistake with who we are without verbally saying it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's really hard to do, but okay. So I said I was going to talk about this, and now I got to talk about it.
Talk about it.
I have a secret, but it's not that I've been trying to keep it a secret. It's just that I've never talked about it before.
Do I know?
Yeah. I told you about it the other day. I said I would talk about this.
You finna talk about it on the podcast? You finna tell the secret?
No, not that.
Okay.
That's coming later.
Okay, do your thing.
That we got a whole agenda about how that's gonna happen. But not that.
Okay.
Stay tuned. But anyway, something that I've been doing since birth, or since as long as I can remember. For some reason, I find comfort in pain. And we've talked about this, where if I feel hurt by something, what I will do is I will put myself in more pain because for some reason that's comforting to me. I mean, that dates back to my self-harm days, is that I would associate me harming myself with comfort for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why. And maybe it's from in my childhood spending all of that time alone and being in so much pain and just being in such a low place, and me just finding peace in the pain. Me just finding a way to deal with it. I don't know. It just mentally takes me back to my childhood. But anyway, something that I do when I am hurt is that I will think thoughts that I know will purposefully tear me down to the point where I just have to cry myself to sleep. And the other day, I tried to do this. I was hurt by something, and I laid in bed. I could not go to sleep to save my life that night. I was so mad I could not go to sleep. But I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, couldn't go to sleep until like 5. But I laid there, And I just kept playing the hurt over and over again in my head. And then I started to think of things that I knew would tear me down, like things that I knew were my biggest weaknesses. I just tried to think of anything that was going to hurt me, and it wouldn't work. No matter what I said, no matter what embarrassing, painful, hurtful thought that I could think of, a part of me was just like, now you know that's not true.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh because as you're speaking, I'm imagining your higher self being like, nigga, get the fuck out of here. You know that ain't true.
Right. That's exactly what she was doing. As I was laying there, I'd be like, oh, you're so stupid. And my higher self would be like, girl, now you know. Now you know you not stupid. And that, like, it brought me so much joy. Like, I was trying to put myself in pain, and yet it brought me so much joy because I was like, you have finally gotten to a place within yourself where you love yourself so much that you can't even bring yourself to hurt you anymore.
Can't even take yourself serious like that.
I can't even hurt myself no more. I am no longer my enemy.
Wow.
And I can't remember why I said that. I think we were talking about mistakes, associating your mistakes with who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to get to a place within yourself like that where you can say, no matter what anybody says to you, no matter what, even the stuff you say to yourself, because you know yourself the best, you know what's really going to hurt you. So when you get to a place where you can't even take that stuff seriously,
yeah,
that's how you know that you made it.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. Like, that's a huge milestone that you accomplished. Now, tell our viewers how to get to that place.
Well, commercial. I have a course coming up. I definitely have a course coming up. It is September 1st. So that means in 22 days, which is my 25th birthday, the big quarter.
Tell them, baby.
I will be dropping my course. It's specifically geared towards women right now. And the only reason being is because the way that the course is going to be set up is that there's going to be a lot of group sessions where we get to really like talk through some of the things that I'll be teaching. And I wanted to make sure that it's a safe space, especially for women that are going through a breakup. I don't want there to be men involved because I don't want the fraternization going on, the temptation going on, which we had a long talk about this because I genuinely did want to bring men into this. But I feel like down the road, I'll be able to release something that's also geared for men. But anyway, I have a course for women who are struggling with their identity. And it's geared towards specifically women who are going through a breakup. However, as I'm creating this course, I recognize that it's for all women. I'm still going to niche and say, okay, it's for women that are going through a breakup because I recognize that a lot of women that are going through a breakup are having an identity issue. And that's the biggest problem as to why they can't let go. But I honestly encourage women in general who feel lost and feel like they can't find their identity to tap into this course. Anyway, commercial over.
And that, my friend, is what you call turning pain into purpose.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
I'm super, super, super excited to be
too.
working one-on-one. Well, one on however many. I'm praying that it's 10 to 15, but in a group setting and really getting to see the insides of people's lives.
Yes.
That's what I really want to do.
Let's go.
That's my purpose. I know it is. But
I love a purpose woman.
That look could have got me pregnant.
Fellas, get y'all one.
Anyway, how you go about finding self-love? That's a really hard question that I feel like requires a whole nother podcast.
Okay, we can do that.
But a little just general idea of how you go about finding self-love is that you have to figure out who you want to be first.
Okay.
that's one of the first questions that I ask in my course. Is I encourage women to really write out and figure out who you want to be. And I'm not talking about on the outside. One thing that I did, I think this was back in 2019, one of my mentors told me to write out the qualities of the woman that I desire to be, because I was so caught up in, well, I want a man. I want a man. And my mentor was like, okay, well, before you can figure out who you want your man to be, you need to figure out who you want to be. And so I wrote out the woman that I desired to be. And I was very, very specific. And then what I did is I went back by each little section, because I would say, I want to be confident. The woman I desire to be is confident. And then I would go into detail about that. And I'd be like, okay, the woman that I desire to be is driven. And then I would go into detail. And what I did is that I went back and I put a number next to each topic, next to each trait. And that number was a number from 1 to 10 that represented where I felt like I currently was. For example, as far as like confident, what I did is that I put a 6 next to it. I looked at my confidence at the time and I said, okay, well, I could say I'm like a 6. And then 6 months later, I went back and said, okay, I feel like I'm an 8 now. But I put it to where I could quantify my growth, because growth is not something that you can think of in numbers, right? But it's so easy. It's so much better to look at it from a perspective of like a score, because then you can physically see that you have grown, you know? So I tried to quantify my growth by rating myself where I was at that moment comparative to the woman that I desired to be. So the best advice that I can have for someone who's struggling with self-love right now is to figure out who you want to be, and then find a way to quantify it so that you can track your growth and know the areas that you need to improve in as a person in order to get there.
I love it.
I'm so confident in who I am today because I know that I did the work.
You did the work. Yep.
I worked my ass off for the past, I would say, 2 years heavily. 2 years very heavily, but it's been a very long journey. But I know, well, honestly, 3 years. So for the past 3 years, I know for sure that I have been putting in the work. I've been going to counseling. I've been journaling. I've been doing the shadow work. Like, I've been having the conversations. I've been reading the books. I've been listening to the podcast. I've been actively working on myself consistently. That's one thing I can say I've been really consistent about.
And to add on to that, how else you can know that you have arrived and that you're doing the work, just based upon the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Because every single word that you speak is a direct reflection of your thoughts. That's very, very key for people to know when it comes to shifting your identity and doing the work, whatever it is that you have set upon yourself to go, whoever you want to be. I was thinking, I hope you don't miss this. You do know that you can change your identity. You can mold your identity to be whoever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that is your birthright. But it starts with you knowing that and doing the internal work. And it made me think about myself too, Queen. Like, I'm a habit man. Because I truly understand that it's a quote, I'm not going to achieve my destiny. Not me, it's my habits.
Yeah.
Everything that you are is linked to your habits. Your habits is just a series of decisions that you make. And a lot of decisions that we make is just on autopilot. The thought that you think, you have a lot of thoughts that's just on autopilot. You think a thought, you either speak it, you think a thought, and you act. Why do you make the certain decisions that you do on a day-to-day basis? Because it's those decisions that's reinforcing your identity. It's the things that are coming out of your mouth that's reinforcing who you say that you are. And that was a game changer for me. I went on a journey to where I literally thought, okay, where I want to go, who I want to be in all areas. And I told myself, it's like, bump the goal shit. Like, nah, bump the habit stuff. Like, no. Who is the kind of type of person that I need to be to go there?
Yeah.
Be that. Okay? then I broke it down to the T to where I'm like, all right, what small decisions do I need to be thinking or making on a day-to-day basis to get there?
Yeah.
And I committed the rest of my life, and I'm committing, and I'm still on a journey. It's a rest of my life type thing.
Yeah.
But you're going to notice that at certain milestones that you have come a long way. How do you know? Based upon conversations you have with other people. People will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
People will let you know if you're progressing or digressing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very important too.
And last point, because you said something so key, and I would say that a big mistake that I made was not knowing my power. Because you said we have the ability to be whoever we want to be. We have the ability to change our identity. And I used to think throughout most of my life, actually, that whoever I was and what I was going through was permanent. That my anxiety, my depression, everything that I thought negative about myself, my selfish ways, I thought all of that was permanent. And therefore, I didn't do anything to try to fix it.
Mm.
So I feel like the biggest mistake that, well, not the biggest, but a huge mistake that I made was believing that I was stagnant and that the hand that I was dealt in life was the hand that I had to play with. But not really. We can literally have whatever we want.
You can have whatever you want.
And be whoever we want to be.
Yep. Babe, I got a rant. I need a smooth 30-second rant.
I'm so sorry this podcast is this long, but it's gems.
Look, if you made it to the end of this, shout out to you. Let us know that you made it to the end of this podcast.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, bro, it's podcasts that be like 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's true. I've been on one of those.
But anyway, I just got to say this one more time because I want to make sure that y'all are not missing this. There is somebody that is watching this right now or listening. Listen to my voice. I am giving energy and I'm exchanging it to you. I need for you to truly understand within the depths of your soul that you can literally be whoever it is that you want to be. I'm not trying to be on no motivational shit at all. Like, bump all that motivation stuff. You need to know that you can be and do whatever you have. Hear how I know? Because there's other people that's out here doing great stuff. Why not you? Yeah. Why not you? There's something within you that you are allowing to hold yourself back. Certain thoughts that you're continuously entertaining on a day-to-day basis. Certain people that you're associating with on a day-to-day basis. Certain things that you're watching, viewing all day, every day that's allowing you to escape from your reality because you are afraid to man up, woman up, and realize that you are God and goddess of your own reality, and you have the power. But what we're doing, we're continuously giving our power away. Like, no, you have the power to change your life and be. I need you to realize that. Change your environment. Get your thoughts right. I would literally play a program on my phone, subconscious program, overnight, every single night with the things that I know that I desire to be and have on repeat because my subconscious mind is the most powerful thing. Same. It doesn't know what right and wrong. Whatever you feed it, just going to take it. So if I'm going to tell it like, yo, bro, you the motherfucking boss. Like, this is your, you know what I'm saying? You have millions coming your way. You confident. You look good as hell. Like, women, there was pride, babe. Look, women attract you because they just cannot get enough of your aura. Like, I would say all that stuff. And my subconscious mind feeding that. Like, bro, you on your way to thousands, impacting thousands of people. Like, you dress nice, like anything that you want. You're healthy than them up. Like, you have no problem getting hard. Like, anything. And I'm now reflecting that in my reality. But it starts with you knowing it and doing the work. Boom, shit, period. Right.
Don't be afraid to dream.
Don't.
The best question that anyone could have ever asked me, shout out to Randall and Maya, was, well, shout out to the business. But
yeah, shout out to the business.
What what my dream life was. My 10 dream life. And up until then, I never allowed myself to truly dream, because we put this mental cap on us of who we can be or what we can do or what we can have. But they really made me sit down and question, if I didn't have any limitations whatsoever, what would I want? Because the reality is that we have no limitations.
We don't.
There are no such thing as limitations. But our environment convinces us that there is. And a huge mistake that I made throughout my life was believing that there were limitations on what I could really do and what I could be. That is the whole reason why I went into the field that I went into. It was the whole reason why I associated with the people that I did. And where most of my actions came from was feeling like I had limitations on the person that I could be, as if I had already hit a cap on my identity. So,
babe, we may need to go a little bit longer, because that's important. I know we're trying to wrap it up like, nah, if something is coming up, just speak it.
Yeah.
That is so key. Understanding that you need to have a clear picture, okay, where is it that I want to go and who I want to be. Take the time to do that. Like, you know what you want.
Yeah.
The next step is you have to literally force yourself by putting yourself in the environment that's going to literally make you be and do and get whatever it is that you desire. The problem is people are afraid of putting themselves in the right environment, or they just don't know. But a lot of people know what they need to do. They're just not doing it.
Yeah.
So I encourage y'all to find the environment with whatever area of your life that you know that you deserve better in. Find the environment that's going to help you get there, because by yourself, you're not as strong and as deep as you think you are. I say that all the time. Make that process easier by putting yourself in the uncomfortable environment. You have to get uncomfortable. We can talk about that all the time. It's environment. And the last thing is, I give a lot of credit to the first entrepreneur endeavor that we decided to embark in. Back to when I was saying that I got arrested at 20 years old.
Yeah.
That was in January. That August, I joined a network marketing company. And that was a good decision in a sense, because it put me in an environment of big thinkers.
Yeah.
It put me in an environment of people who wanted more out of themselves, who was hungry for developing the right habits that elevated their mind and just in different areas of their life. And also I would journal, and I got around other mentors. I found mentors and people that was where I wanted to be in life.
I want to, because I was just about to talk about that, about how I ended up getting into that network marketing experience. Because a lot of people might be thinking, well, I know that I want better, but how do I find the environments in order to cultivate that? And my advice to you is stop talking about where you are and start talking about where you're going. This was huge because this is how I did it. I'm a huge believer in manifestation. And what you speak, what you think is what you attract. So the more that you start to consume yourself with the thoughts of who you desire to be and where you desire to go, the more the things that align with that are going to attract to you. So very specifically, I graduated college, and I tell this story all the time. I had an ex-boyfriend who was just super woke in the entrepreneurial space, and he had shelves of books, and he was already working multiple jobs, saving money, saying he was going to retire in his 20s. And that was the first time that ever happened to me, that I was around somebody like that. So he really shifted my mindset. So when we broke up my senior year of college and I finished out I was just like, okay, I'll worry about that when I graduate college. So I graduated college, and literally that week after, my mom took me on a cruise for my graduation. And while I was on the cruise, because I mean, we were just really chilling. It was just me and my mom, and we're both very chill people. So we would just be laying on the deck for hours because we like the sun, and that's just what we like to do. And something in me, for some reason, I thought of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was on my ex-boyfriend's bookshelf, and he recommended it to me. Mm-hmm. This is a book where a lot of people start. If you have not read that book, then you are behind. Yes. Go read the book.
Read it.
Go read the book. Like, cover to cover, take notes, okay? So I downloaded the book while I was on the cruise, and I read that thing within like a couple of days. And that's all I could think about. It consumed me. I mean, as soon as I touched back in America, like I was I was talking about it to everyone. I was reading about it. I was listening to podcasts. Like, I would be on my story, just be like, I'm going to be a millionaire. I don't know about y'all, but I will be a millionaire. Yeah. I don't know how. I don't know what, but I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. One day, a soror by the name of Jade hit me up and was like, hey, you said you want to be a millionaire. You know, I have a mentor who retired in his 20s. I was like, bet.
What?
Bet.
That's all I needed to hear.
Right. Right. I was like, oh, okay, sign me up. Where do I need to be? I remember I went and bought a suit to meet this man. I did not own a suit. And she was like, oh, that's fine. I mean, you can just wear like, no, I went and bought a suit to meet this man.
Yeah.
And that's how I got started in the network marketing business. But Jamal is right. We got around people who thought like us. And that was absolutely a game changer for us.
And also not only thought like us, but thought like how we wanted to go.
Yeah.
They were where we wanted to be mentally. And we understood that. And that book helped us to understand the importance of that. That book is a shifting environment. Books is a way of changing your environment.
Yeah.
If you can't get around physical environment, get a book, because these books are somebody else's thoughts. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did with the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I got to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because that is the book that changed the game for me. I can't sleep past that. I read that book shortly before I joined the network marketing company. And when I tell you, that was the first time that I heard that, okay, what the system is like, you go to school, get a good job so you can find a good high-paying job, and you just gonna work and retire. And like, is that really what you want? And they're just giving so many gems, like, that literally just made you think, and it just, boop, like, it just took the lid off of everything.
Yeah.
And ever since that point, I had this internal desire to figure it out. Like, no, this is, I want whatever he talking about. That's what I want. Like, and you're now walking in a different type of energy now. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's like your radar is now open to seeing, okay, that's where I'm going. Boom, boom, that's what I'm looking for. Before, we were just ignorant.
Yeah, as hell.
As the hell. And then when that came across, I jumped at it. And I don't change nothing. It really transformed my life. Chase
information. Chase knowledge. Mm-hmm. And I don't just mean, this is, okay, I wouldn't say this is a mistake, but this shift in mentality is what brought me to where I am today. Is that I've always been hungry for knowledge, but I always did it in the wrong way. I just became super absorbed in school. I just became super absorbed in whatever white ass curriculum they put in front of me. Yep. No offense to white people, but y'all know what it is. Mm-hmm. I just got consumed in whatever curriculum they put in front of me. I was never in control of my knowledge. Mm-hmm. And that shift in mindset, recognizing that I can be in control of what I choose to learn, and seeing the value in broadening my horizons and reading personal development books. Mm-hmm. Not just textbooks, not just documentaries per se. You know, not just what was put in front of me or like the stuff that you read in English. No, personal development books. Investing my time into my knowledge about self and my knowledge about life and my knowledge about my power and my ability to control myself and where I'm going in my life. Getting more knowledgeable about that's something that we dedicate a lot of our time to.
Yep.
We are constantly educating ourselves on how to become better people. And that shift in mindset changed my life.
Yeah. Peep this. School education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Yeah. That's so good, man. Yeah.
All right. We can stop there.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
I don't even know. The camera might stop in a minute. Yeah. I don't even know. Okay.
We'll close this out, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Well, follow us. I am at by Nia Love. Like I said, I am a relationships and mental health and growth and mindset influencer. This is what I do. I do have consultations. You can book them with me. I would love to just chat about where you want to go. I guess I could call myself a life coach. I guess that's where I am in my life. I am a life coach. So if you feel the need, if you feel compelled to just talk to me about life and get some advice on what you should be doing and where you should be going, feel free to go book a consultation with me.
Yeah.
Now, introduce yourself and your new brand.
What's up, family? You guys can follow me at J-Sko, the producer. And guess what, baby?
What, baby?
I'm on a mission to help people break free from bondage, whether they be health and wealth. And guess what we just launched?
Guess what?
We just launched our credit repair and building business. And that's just one of the services. I'm not a credit repair person. I don't label us that. That's just the service that we provide because we understand that our goal here is to take back our power that the system has taken away from us. And we understand that one of the key components to creating wealth is through leveraging credit. And we're going to educate our people. We're going to put them on game, get their credit right, and build it up so you can put yourself in a position to win by leveraging this system, the other people's money. Take their money, invest it into assets so you can promote yourself further, and you can take your family further, and you can create wealth for you and your family and change your lives.
Quick little tidbit. The two most evil things that white people created: religion and credit. Why? Because they can both be used to control and to keep another group of people down while elevating their own people.
Yep. Their whole agenda was to keep you ignorant.
Yep.
Ignorant.
If you don't know credit, then they can use it to elevate themselves and honestly just feed off of our own ignorance.
Right. Why you don't think they have financial education in the school system? And you said it it's this system, this Europeanized system was centered in a way to promote them forward and keep our minds in a box.
Yep.
How dare you to take the lid off and think outside of the box?
How dare you?
So now we're going to take the lids off our people's head, think outside the box, get this money so we can push our people forward, and let's get it. That's
Tell
what
them
it's
the
about.
website, baby. Tell them the website.
The website is www.jayskocapital, JAYSKO capital.com.
Woo! JayskoCapital.com. Hit him up so he can repair and build your credit.
Let's get it.
Good shit, baby. Good shit. And like you said, definitely more on the way.
More on the way.
And I honestly need to finish building the website. So I guess I'm going to be working on that.
Yeah, it's going to be ready. It's going to be on and popping.
If the website just happens to not be up, just DM us. Okay.
You don't need the website to repair your credit. You can just hit me up directly and we can go from there.
Yeah. And what's your new Instagram?
Jaysko, the producer.
Jaysko, the producer.
JAYSKO, the producer.
Because
we make shit happen.
You make shit happen.
Exactly. We're producers. We like to produce stuff. We're guys and goddesses. That's who we are.
At the end of the day, what we desire in our relationship and within ourselves and within our family is to be less, or not even be less of a consumer, but focus less on being a consumer and more on being a producer.
Yep.
So
producers are solution-oriented people.
Right.
Close it, baby.
All right. Well, that's about it.
Until next time, my guys and goddesses, kings and queens.
We'll see you later.